Wachowski. The last episode of the project published based on the poem Open Mic Mania by local writer Richard Graves, who's in the audience right there, airs next Sunday, March 24th from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on BATV. Comcast Channel 17 in Batavia, AT&T U-verse Channel 99 throughout the Northern Illinois, are streaming at batv.us. Writers have been given weekly assignments and the actors have performed their work. Next week, the winning writer and actor will be chosen by a panel of judges, including one of tonight's readers, Don Bingle. Donald J. Bingle was the world's top-ranked player of classic role-playing games from 1985 to 2000. He published over 35 science fiction, fantasy, thriller, horror, steampunk, romance, and comedy stories, and 3 novels. Net Impact, a spy thriller, Greensward, a tale of extreme global warming, and Forced Convergence, a military sci-fi tale. He's a member of many writing groups, including the Horror Writers Association, and according to one reviewer, is known for his signature dark humor. Find out more at donaldjbingle.com. Donald?
Hi there. Today's reading is going to be a little darker than the reading I did last December. This has been accepted for publication in Volume 5 of the Crimson Pact. I also have a similarly length story in Volume 2 of the Crimson Pact and a longer feature story in Volume 1 of the Crimson Pact. All of the Crimson Pact anthologies are about an eternal struggle between good, the Crimson Pact, and evil, the demons of the Veil. And these stories take place across the multiverse, some in our world, some in fantasy worlds, some in historical worlds. My story is called Someday. Someday they would come for him. Someday, most likely in the pre-dawn darkness, with the planets still asserting their predominance over the night sky, the SWAT team's special personnel carrier would roll into the parking lot outside his apartment, signaled only by the uncertain barking of a lone dog. Someday there would be a knock at the door, or perhaps no knock, just a crash as the wood of his double dead-bolted door was kicked from its reinforced frame. In either case, a bevy of armored men in protective helmets would rush through to seize him or kill him, just as they always did from time immemorial when dealing with a perceived enemy of the state. History repeating itself, reflecting the same power structure, the same defenses, the same misunderstanding. They would have no real information about him from the neighbors, but they would think they did. A loner, the neighbors would say, quiet, keeps to himself, pays his rent on time, doesn't play loud music, doesn't cause any trouble. But the indicators would be there, the formulas fulfilled. Never has any friends over. Never seen him with a girl. Wears the same plain clothes all the time. Mutters to himself, averts his eyes, seems preoccupied. And then there would be the clincher. Gets lots of deliveries. I think one was from a gun company. He understood their concern more than they could ever know. He knew the signs. He saw them everywhere. He understood the beast. He battled with it every day, for more days than anyone could ever imagine. And when that someday came and the men-at-arms flowed through the portal to his lonely life to search for and seize his weapons of mass destruction, organized neatly within his bedroom closet, to search for and seize him, organized neatly within his mission parameters, he would have a choice to make. Suicide by cop, an unloaded AK-47 in his hand, truly the weapon from hell. His angry mouth shouting words calculated to invite response, to confirm their fears, to justify their banishment of guilt in their own dark nights later, alone. Or to calmly raise his hands and lay down on the floor, compliant to their commands, ignoring the rough treatment when cuffed and frisked and wrenched to his feet and out the door to a locked van with wire windows and delivered to a locked room with bars on the door, there to sit alone with his thoughts till eternity or till death did he part. Either way, the evidence of his life's effort would come out. The mysterious background, or lack thereof, the many aliases, the moves from town to town to town, the outbursts at his various menial jobs, which had led, as he knew they would, to counseling, and the vivid scenes of destruction and mayhem and retribution described in such sessions, not so confidential now that something had happened. Dark, violent talk flowed as easy as venom in the group sessions, where others of his kind, of his mindset, of his diagnosis, rambled their ravings, whatever the current flavor of their disease, paranoid, schizophrenic, dissociative disorder, sociopath, psychotic personality, bipolar with sadistic tendencies, angry loser, or all of the above. And there would be sadly shaken heads and pity and tisk-tisking at the limited funding for mental health care until the public read about the weapons, the frequent attendance at gun shows, the applications for carry and conceal permits, the subscriptions to magazines about guns and ammo, the militia pamphlets, and the survivalist literature. Then there would be anger and dismissal and petitions for new laws to go with the old laws, and he would be forgotten, dead or alive, though he knew most would prefer dead, even though he had never gone on a bullet-spewing spree, rampaging through a workplace or a mall or theater or, shudder, school. Even though he had killed no one, as far as they knew. He was on a mission answering to no one in this world. He knew the demons were powerful and insidious and dangerous and, most of all, evil. He knew they were clever but miserly in using their power, so liked to control the weak-minded and lonely. So he set it upon himself to appear weak-minded and lonely. Not to entrap a demon by himself becoming a target. He believed his strength of mind and purpose would overcome any such attempt. No, he pretended to become a misguided, violent soul to search for the many similarly described others who were the demon's potential targets and hoped to divide the sheep from the goats. Individuals who were simply ill or poorly adjusted to the rigors of life versus those truly evil, truly possessed by the demons of the veil. But the weak-minded and lonely, especially those demon-possessed, are difficult to find. The lonely do not, by definition, make friends easily, and those whose actions are controlled by sinister forces would never do so. Best to act like them, to seem to become one of them, to shun everyone and everything normal and beautiful, and to go to the dismal places where the weak-minded who demonstrate anger control issues and dark thoughts are herded into the mental health care bureaucracy. In group sessions, he could meet and surreptitiously evaluate many, many loners and psychopaths with dark dementia, listen to their outbursts, and hear their fantasies, hear their plans. Pride being a sin, demons are filled with it, and often boast of their dreams, as long as they believe no one of power is within hearing or caring. And of course, in addition to knowing his enemy, he needed to know their capabilities, their access to weapons and tactics, their facilitators in the unknowing, unseeing world of normality. So he went to the gun shows and learned not only what and how much could be bought and how easy to buy it, but who else was buying, was boasting of the size and nature of their equipment, literally or figuratively. And he read the ramblings of the frightened and belligerent, where it is easy for evil to dwell hidden. And every so often, his mission would bear fruit. He would find a man, they were almost always men, as demons prefer the power and strength and aggression arising from testosterone. A man with a gun or 20 and ample ammo and a plan, a sick, twisted, deadly plan. When he was sure, really sure, that the man couldn't be helped because a demon was in command, he would act. He would eliminate the threat by eliminating the source of the threat. A mugging gone bad here, a faulty furnace there, a slip and fall in the tub. He tried not to repeat the methods too often. Although he killed serially, he wasn't a serial killer. He didn't get off on the killing or the method. He simply had a job to do, to rid the world of evil. Suicides were the easiest to stage. When you were lonely and unliked, no one pressed to investigate your demise if the cause was obvious and easily understood by those not afflicted. Suffocation, car exhaust, and pills were all easier than a faked accident or even a staged hanging. All were less messy than slit wrists, even when done in a warm bath with the slits parallel to the veins, not crossways, as all the serious wannabe suicides would know. Worse yet, a gun to the mouth, the suicide connoisseur's choice, as there is less chance of missing because of a sudden reflex at the last instant than with a gun to the temple. But over time, he used them all. Whatever the method of demise, parents, co-workers, and neighbors could go on with their lives, secretly relieved and no longer frightened that one day something worse, something much, much worse would happen. A rampage, a murder, a spree, mass fatalities. If such a terrible thing occurred, if innocent life was lost, they would have the guilt of not having done something else, something more to prevent it. That is, if they lived to see the aftermath. The guilt of being secretly relieved at their son's or co-workers' or neighbor's death was far, far less with an accidental death or even suicide. And when the deed was done, when the quest notched up another sad victory, he would move on to another town, another apartment, another job, another group, another friendless existence. And he would begin again. Until that day, that someday, when he would be mistaken for the real enemy, for the mad dog loose in the schoolyard. When that someday came, he would be put down, or if not, caged for a lonely, miserable life. Not really so different from the one he had now.
Thank you, John Bingle. And take a look at his books. He does write every single kind of book. I'm waiting for his cookbook.